Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucatak. I am Lucas as always, and today I want to talk about the game that got me interested in NES games back again. And that game that got me back into it is no other than Mega Man 2. Now, there is a ton of things I need to talk about this game, like the Robot Masters, the music, and basically how this game got me back into this legendary 8-bit machine of its legacy after years of not playing NES and Famicom titles for almost 2 years. So sit down and relax for a retrospective on Mega Man 2 and learn how a sequel to an unsuccessful first game could redefine it for the future. Mega Man was first released in Japan as Rockman on December 17, 1987, as being developed by a small team at Capcom to make games for the home console market. Mega Man would receive positive reviews from publications, but it had some negatives like its difficulty spikes. Capcom's sales department originally believed that Mega Man would be a commercial failure, but once the video game stores across Japan started to receive limited quantities, it was picked up by Capcom USA for a Western localization. Despite its North American release becoming famous for its awful box art, the limited marketing for the game in North America was the main reason that led to its lackluster sales overseas. All of that said, the team behind the first game of Mega Man were tasked to make a sequel to make massive improvements over the original. One of the staff members for Mega Man 2 was Kenji Inafune. Inafune originally was the character designer and artist for the first Mega Man, but now he is more involved with the sequel more than ever. They decided to use unused content from the first game into the sequel. This was mostly due to the limited space on the first Mega Man game's cartridge. Also, Capcom also listened to player feedback from the first game's higher difficulty and added extra lives and energy tanks spread around the Robot Master stages. After 3 to 4 months of development, Rockman 2, Dr. Wily no Nazo, was released in Japan on December 24, 1988, just in time for Christmas. North America would get it 6 months later in June of 1989. Now why don't we talk about the Robot Masters, because these are probably my favorite Robot Masters in my opinion, in fact on the entirety of the NES. I always start with Woodman because I think it is the easiest stage for me to get started. I also like Airman, which I first discovered him as an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. 2. Then we got Crashman, and I have to be honest here, I thought his stage was a little bland for me outside some tricky platforms and some slippery ice blocks. The other Robot Masters being Heatman, Bubbleman, Quickman, and his infamous laser segment on the stage, Flashman, Metalman. I can go on about them, how good they are for hours and hours and hours, but I think you kind of get it already at this point. In traditional Mega Man fashion, you get a new power by defeating a Robot Master, and you must find a puzzle to find the Robot Master's weakness. For example, Airman is weak to wood and Bubbleman is weak to metal. This adds a layer of strategy to the game. Now I must talk about the music. Oh my goodness. This music is probably some of the best chip tunes on the entire NES library. There's the action-packed feeling in the Airman stage. To the Goofy-esque style of Crashman's stage. And don't get me started on the Dr. Wily stage, for goodness sake.
But now, after talking about Mega Man 2 for about almost most of the video, now, it's time for me to talk about why, for the longest time, I stopped playing NES and Famicom games even though there are so many good games on that console. Well, like I said on my video on Mirai Toa and Samaiti, I got a Nintendo 64 with Super Mario 64 for my 14th birthday. It was the first console I ever got to own and keep it forever. I continue to play and collect more N64 games, and some of them are some of my favorites of all time, such as The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. I was also busy with personal life and time in school. I once stumbled to a video about the SNES by YouTuber Nostalgia, and soon after, I started to play more Super Nintendo games, and the rest is history until the beginning of 2026, and pretty much right now. What I learned is that outside the first-party NES hits like Mario or Zelda, I learned that the NES also has many good games that are made from third parties. There are even some that are underrated gems too, so I'm looking forward to be playing some of those in the future. So make sure to stay tuned.
But I must give all my love to Sank Mega Man 2 and the entire retro gaming community as a whole to get me back interested into the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES. After playing Mega Man 2, I have to be honest here, there has never been really a bad aspect about Mega Man 2. Okay, except for some sprite flickering, but overall, I was very surprised at how the game went when I first played it. Without the main recommendations of Mega Man 2, I would probably never talk about the NES outside some moments here and there on my channel. And overall, I would give Mega Man 2 an astonishing 10 out of 10 points. It's pretty much a perfect game with the best music, best bosses, and best Roman Masters, and probably in the entire Mega Man series. I highly recommend you playing this if you haven't already. But anyway, that was pretty much my retrospective and somewhat history about Mega Man 2 and how it helped me get back into the NES as I am today. Don't worry, I'm still going to be playing more SNES and SNES, but make sure to look out for those in the future. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I am Lucatak, aka Lucas, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Goodbye.